Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Hi. Happy Sunday, happy day, happy life. Welcome to this amazing first out of a kind of like a new series of Coach's Corner where we're going in depth of amazing, beautiful articles that we've been studying for quite some time. And we're going to dive in and share some very powerful messages. So, this is something that you can take the rest of your life. So I'm Jamel Matias. My brand is Believe in the Unseen. It's all about believing in yourself and believing in that goal or dream that you may have. And I help you guide you towards that achievement. And I'll pass it along to my amazing colleague, Paul.
Oh, thank you, Jamel, and good morning and good afternoon to Alicia. My name is Paul Wooters. I'm in the Toronto area, just west of Toronto in Burlington, Ontario, and Proctor Gallagher consultant, mindset success coach, and I help improve the quality of people's lives through science and psychology to help them achieve their most elusive personal and professional goals. And I like to remind them to try to live to their greatest possibilities. And I'll pass this now over to my colleague, Lou.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you're catching the replay, welcome. We're grateful that you're here with us. So my name is Lou Perica, and I am a success mindset coach as well. And I work with growth-minded women who may feel like stuck or unfulfilled. I help them break free from self-doubt and old patterns so they can step into the success that they know is meant for them. So simply put, I help women stop searching and start becoming. Alicia.
Hi, everybody. Alicia here from Sweden. And I also values and mindset coach. And I help high achievers to find fulfillment from the inside. So to create a life that feels good on the inside and not just look good from the outside. And in very short, is like living according to your values. So this is me.
All right. I love it. Are we ready to dive into one of the most important things in life?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, before we dive in, don't be a stranger. You've probably seen us before. If this is your first time seeing us, welcome. Feel free to put some comments or questions or big takeaways for you. Whatever speaks to you, what we share here, because this article is so powerful and it's not just words. It paints a very clear picture of the power of making decisions and the lack of them as well. So we're actually going to share a few things that really spoke to us and dive deep into them. Before we do, I'm so excited because I actually did a 30-day live challenge with this article. I read it 30 days on live on different platforms. And it was quite a potent content. So with decisions, we'll start here. Anybody want to share, just at the top of your head, off the top of your head, what was making decisions even before reading this article? What was your perception of decisions? Did you think about it in this way now? Huh? How's that one?
Well, I'll go. And I chuckle because I know this is how we typically start our calls. And it really, showing your vulnerability and how naive I was and how I really was just going through the motions. So when I read this article, when I studied this article on decision making, a light bulb went off. I never really put the time and energy or effort or was taught just how powerful decision making was. And when I look back, I was not a very good decision maker. I can often hear me say, asking people, well, what should I do? What would you do? And I kind of cringe now when I think about, but it's part of my growing process, right? And I realize now that I would ask people what they would do, or what they thought, or what they thought I should do, blah, 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 because it was really an out for me, right? Not taking full responsibility, because you know what I used to do if things didn't work out. Well, I only did what you told me to do. Oh my gosh, when I look back and I think about that now. Now I don't know if I ever ask anybody. And if I do, I make sure it's one of my colleagues that understands the power of decision, that understands where my thought or question is coming from. So I'm very particular, very selective on who I ask, if at all. But I've learned that making decisions starts the process. I know I have choices, and nothing happens until that decision is made. So it's extremely powerful. Paul, you wanna?
Oh yeah, so I'm so like in tune with what you're saying. It's so true. When I think back, I think most of us are, myself included, just operate on autopilot, just go through the same thing, the same routine without really thinking. And the less thinking there is, sort of the better it was, right? You just knew what you had to do in the morning. There was nothing in the way, nothing disturbed you, didn't want to get, knock you off your routine. And never really gave it much thought, right, about decisions. There are sometimes you have to make a decision about this or that, or you decided, well, I'm going to go on a holiday, or I decide, oh, here's a big decision. I'm going to change jobs or something like that. But then we get stuck on the, or I would get stuck, as most people do, on the how's that going to happen, and going through all this analysis. I'm not going to make a decision until I want to make an informed decision. Well, that sounds really important to do, but we get so hung up on, okay, I've got to make sure that this is how all the resources I need. I don't have this, I don't have that, and looking at all the reasons why it won't happen and won't work. So when these bigger decisions came up, I spent too much time either doing what Lou said, hey, what do you think I should do? What do you think? And and that person would really project their fears onto you, or what they would imagine what would happen. And we would get stuck in this thing, which Bob liked to say, analysis paralysis, over analyzing the situation rather than just making that decision. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and just get going. I know we fear failure. That's a really big fear we have. But remember, we talked about in previous lessons, if you've been listening or following along, that failure is a part of success. So yeah, I might make a decision and it might not work out, but that's part of the learning process. And I'm going to take that and not be too shaken up about that, but just look at it as a learning experience. But that took a long time. And when I really started studying this with Bob and looking at this article, and like Jamel said, reading it over and over and over again, the value of reading it. When I was reading this article this past week over again, I just thought, wow, there was things in there that really jumped out at me. But as Lou said, too often we just operate on autopilot, and we'd rather not make a decision about anything. I know what I'm going to do. I know where I'm going. I know I'm going to get my car. I know I'm going from here to there. And God forbid there is a traffic jam or an accident, because that is just going to disrupt my whole day. So when we really think about how decisions like impact our life, and in this article, just that first thing, it says, there's a single mental move that we can make that's going to have a tremendous impact on our lives. You go, wow, what's that? And but then this whole thing of making a decision and this analysis paralysis we get caught up in, and we just would not. We'd rather let someone else, defer to someone else. What do you think? Okay, that sounds good. I trust you. I'll do that. And then if it doesn't work out, then it's kind of, well, point the finger at that person. Why did that person tell me that? So really, really spinning your tires. And when we learn this powerful tool, that the power to make a decision, what it can do for us, it's so incredible. I'm going to pass it on to Alicia now. Alicia.
Yeah. So before I read this, when I learned this from this article and other studies that I have done, I have made a lot of decisions, and I come to the realization that many of those decisions are based on subconscious beliefs that I had. And at that time, it was like, okay, that time was the best I could because I didn't knew anything better. And I also realized that the worst decision that I have made have been those that I let other people made for me. Because when they made the decision, they have an agenda, and it wasn't my agenda. It wasn't for my best. It was for other people's best. So this is, and I have going or study a lot about decision, not only from the article, but from the values part of when I take decision from my values. And I will can come back later about that. Yeah.
Yeah, decisions, before reading this, I didn't really realize I was making decisions, to be honest. All right. And kind of what Alicia is sharing, I just let the outside world kind of push me around. And I didn't realize I was making decisions, but unconsciously, and reading this material kind of woke me up to what I was doing in the past. It gave me it shedded light on all the trajectory that I've been through is because of those decisions. But I didn't realize I was actually doing that, whether knowingly or knowingly. Most of it was unknowingly. So looking back, I was like, wow, I decided to do that. And, I'm thinking about, certain education in school. I was doing it really for my parents, the first one to go to college, in a family. And there was, kind of pressure there. Right. But I really wasn't deciding for myself, which is interesting. But I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything. I had some amazing times, and great experiences. But, reading this type of material and studying it, letting it go into your subconscious mind, you really see, wow, I made all those decisions in my life, and I didn't realize that it basically shapes your future, So let's dive into the first thing that spoke to us. We can, something, I'll start it off. It's in the second paragraph, unless someone has something before that. It says here, however, it's not just your income that is affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. Everyone watching this, everyone watches the replay, your whole life is dominated by this power. So the health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop, all are dependent upon your ability to make sound decisions. Wow. That is a very strong one there. And, it just hammers home how this shapes everything. Anybody want to speak on that?
I'll go. So, yeah, the power. So this is learning that, choice and decision, every single person has the ability to do it. We may not like the choices. We may not want to make a decision because it seems so concrete. But that is the human experience. That is a gift. And you had mentioned, Jamel, making decisions consciously or unconsciously, or sometimes making decisions not because what you want, but perhaps what someone else wanted. And what I realized is a lot of times I put off making decisions. I just didn't want to do it. And just like you said, Jamel, I just let life take me wherever, right? Wherever it may go. And indecision is also a decision, I realized.
Yeah.
And procrastination is a form of indecision, not making a decision. And our whole life is actually a printout. All of the experiences we've had is actually a printout of the choices and decisions we've made. So that's why these classes or podcasts are so vital, because all of us here on the panel have actually learned how to live. You know, when we were growing up, we used to hear life doesn't come with instructions. Well, I found that these are the instructions. These past 12 weeks and then going forward, these are the instructions for life. So starting to understand just how powerful we are. And the decision article was a big eye opener for me. So I just wanted to, you know, mention that, piggyback on what you were talking about in this paragraph, that our whole life is dominated by this power. Every decision we make opens another door, opens another door. And I remember Brian Proctor talking, sharing this story. It was either Brian or Bob or both of them. And Brian had always wanted this car, whatever car it was, some antique car.
Pontiac.
He loved, was it a Pontiac? I thought it was a Mercedes.
Oh, okay.
But so he always wanted this car, and he asked his father, because it came with a high price tag, should I buy the car? And I remember Bob saying, well, that's up to you. It's up to you. If I don't want the car, right? So when you think about it, every decision that you make, when we ask other people what they would do, they're coming from a whole different set of experiences. So that's why the power is really in our hands, because we're making the decision based on our experiences and the outcome that we desire. Sure, are we taking from others, but no one has ever walked the path that we've walked. So it's very challenging for someone to help us with our decision, because everyone's walking a different path. So yeah, so powerful. I truly hope that people lock into this discussion and understand just how powerful they are with their decisions.
Anybody else wanted to share, something that kind of, and, stood out to you there in the first page there, the article?
I really like what Lou said. I'm just going to underscore what you said. Choosing not to make a decision, that's a choice. We have the freedom to make choices, but that's a decision. We're deciding not to make that choice, not to, and we have that tremendous power. As Lou was saying, we have this tremendous power available to us, the power to choose. And when you choose one thing or another, that's a decision, and make your decision and go with it. And, this what Jamel brought up here, I mean, that's a segue into this thing where we have this tug of war in our mind, should I, shouldn't I? And, we've all experienced that. It happens over and over again. And so we have to make a decision. And as Lou said, or as Jamel said, those are, when we ask someone else, it's coming from their experiences, which is totally different than ours. I mean, there might be parallels, there may be similarities, but you've got to know, like, you have to trust your intuition. You have to feel it in your gut. We've talked about that faculty as well. So, decide what it is you really want. A want really is the only prerequisite in making a decision. And I remember when that first came up at one of my first trainings, it was in Toronto, and I just, want is the only prerequisite in making a decision. Like, do you want it? Bob would say this, says, do you want it? Right? And that's the only prerequisite. If you want it, then just get going on it and just start, taking the steps that you need and get going. So, it is a really, it really makes you think. And that's what this program is all about. Like, the power, thinking. It's about thinking, because most of us don't do it. We just run on autopilot. So it's really that awareness that, hey, every day I have a choice, and I can take my life in any direction I want. Alicia, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I love what you say about the, when if you don't make a decision, it's also making a decision, and it make us to procrastinate, which is the opposite to making decision, and is a very common enemy for the decision. And I think that we are going to later on we talk about the ambivalence, to be in the ambivalence state where it is a confusion or a conflict within you when you don't make decision. And if we look at what decision, the word decision make is, it comes from Latin, and it's from the word desire, and is to cut off. So it's to cut off the different options and only choose one option. And sometimes we make decisions. Paul talked about the subconscious, or the patterns we have, and we have different how we make decisions. And in Bob say it's not difficult to make decision, but you need to learn how to make the decision. And here is like we can make decision in different levels. And here I come with like instinct. You immediately do this, but it's more from the how we are built as humans, to survive. We make that very, very fast decisions, very quickly decision immediately. And then, sorry if I confuse Swedish here with English sometimes. And then we do the subconscious belief, decision based on subconscious beliefs, and that are based in our in our memory, what we have from our programming. We talk about a lot of programming or paradigms. Then we make decisions from that, and then we can next is to make conscious decisions. But sometimes the conscious decisions are the more logical decisions that we make, and also are based a lot from what we have done before. And then after that, it comes the values decision, when you know what is important to you, and then you make decisions from that point of view. What is important to me, and make that decision. And after that come what Paul say is the intention. The intention, you listen to your intuition, not intention, but your intuition. When the intuition starts to talking to you, and then you make decisions from that. And then also we have the inspired decisions, and it's when we start to listen to our soul, what we want. So the first 2, 3 are more based from the ego side, and then it's from the last one, like the values and the intuition and inspiration comes from the soul is telling you make this decision. But sometimes we let the others take over, the ego.
Yeah, this is so good, because we can talk about the power of decisions forever.
Yeah.
This is really good. I want to share a little bit how, right here in this paragraph, this stresses the importance of it. You would think anything as important as decision making, when it has such far reaching power, would be taught in every school, but it is not. To compound the problem, not only is decision making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So, how is a person expected to develop this mental ability? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. That right there,
Yeah.
you know, and really think about it though. We were never taught how to make decisions. You know, how profound is that? As human beings, you know, schools didn't teach us the importance of making a decision, right?
Mhm.
Our corporate or you know, whatever, it's not in human resources and etc. So you must do it on your own. This is why mentorship is essential, because we're learning the power of decisions to help other people kind of learn. I wouldn't say more, it's like relearn, right? Because you learned all this time in the past how to make decisions unconsciously, right? But now you're getting this awareness of the importance of how it shapes your tomorrows from this point forward. Did that one paragraph jump out at anybody else other than me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so how did we learn how to make decisions? It was really from our role models. So depending on the people you were surrounded by, depending on their decision-making skills, so to speak, that's how you learned how to make decisions. But really, when you think about it, it is not taught. And I love on the next paragraph, decision making brings order to your mind. Oh my gosh, it's so true. Once you make a decision, you just have more clarity. That's where I'm going. That's what I want. This is the outcome that I desire. And now it takes all that ambiguity, like we were talking about, Alicia mentioned, and brings a focus. It's like taking all this power right from the sun, using a magnifying glass. So now you have this white hot bead, right? Of energy focused on whatever, a leaf or, God forbid, a bug or something. But you're taking all that energy of what should I do? What should I do? How, I don't know. And just say, you know what? Damn it, I'm making a decision. And this is, oh, I know it's later on, but I've just got to
Go
say it.
ahead. Go ahead.
I've got to say it. I've got to say it. It's one of my favorite things. Once you make the decision, you will find all the people, the resources, and ideas that you need every time.
Mhm.
That sentence, I was sold because I realized, my goodness, it's true. When you look back, it's so true. Once you make that decision, because now your energy is focused, your attention is focused on the outcome that you desire, the want that you desire. So now you start attracting more ideas to help you get there, to help you achieve it, the people, resources, the circumstances. That sentence alone, and I was mentioning, I think it's in our workbook, but it's not in the PDF article. And I reached out to the panel. I was like, where's that sentence? It's the most powerful sentence in the whole article. So I just had to get that out there because it's so true.
You know, I also, yeah. So the confusion will disappear.
Hmm.
What it does when we make a decision is that, and I want to say that this, you need to make a committed decision,
Hmm.
because sometimes we say, yes, I make the decision to do this and this and this, and then our story starts, you know.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, but, yeah, but, and you know, And are you going to do that? And so these guys, and I take an example today. I made a decision this morning that I wanted to take a walk outside, and I started to do other things and so. And then my husband say, "Are we going to take a walk?" "No, go you go," I told him, because those guys started. "Yeah, but you are tired, and you need to do this, and you are not good. You are going to do this," and they started to came with a table with the reasons why I should not go for a walk. But because I knew that I made a decision in the morning, a committed decision, I say, hold on, I'm going to change. We go for a walk. So we went for a walk together. So, but it should be the committed decision. Otherwise, those guys is thought, if you have another a need that is bigger than the other, the one that is more strong will win if you don't make a committed decision. And normally are the needs that the ego needs to be safe, to have to feel safe and secure. And then those guys will. It's why they need to be a committed decision.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so true. The committed decision, and I love what that line that Lou brought up, and that opens up something else I want to say later. But I want to just back it up just a little bit, because we're talking about ambivalence, and you have those which is you're looking at your objective and have two different views on it, right? You don't have that shouldn't I, yes, I want it, I don't want it, that type of thing. But the one thing that came out, okay, ambivalence, that causes a decision, but that's a secondary cause. The primary cause, and this is something we talked about in one of our lessons, was self-image, that a person's self-image. And Lou talked about a little bit, the decisions that we're making, they are just automatic based on what we were taught, based on the people that we learned decision-making from. And we're basing, all those are our old paradigms, right? And we can, but we're not creating a new paradigm. We're not overriding that. And it's really locked in our self-image. And that is so huge, because we'll never outperform our self-image. We'll never outperform our limiting beliefs. And so that prevents us from making that decision. But when we do make that decision, you really have to trust and believe, like as Lou said, that line is so powerful. When you do make that decision, you will find all the people, the sources, the circumstances will be there. And some people will say, well, that's ridiculous. But when you think about it, if you're in a city and you never go down certain streets, you don't know what shops are down there. You don't know what services are down there. You will never know that, right? Until you go down that road. And might you make a wrong decision or a decision that doesn't work out? Yes, but you're looking at your objective, and that decision, that temporary setback, that's all it is, a temporary setback from which you learn. But making that decision, when you learn to make decisions, it's so liberating. It's so freeing. It's just like, boom, it's just like your chest opens up there, weight off your shoulders, and just like, wow, your heart opens up, and you just feel this power. You feel this power that, I can make this happen for myself. And it's just so, so powerful. Jamel, did you have anything to add?
Oh, of course. This. I'm getting so excited. I love this. The word ambivalence, and that was wonderful, Paul. Everybody, this is so good. The word ambivalence keeps popping up, right? And this is to help people understand what is meant by that. And I found that section. So it says, no one can see you making decisions, but they will almost always see the results of your decisions.
Mm.
The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions is doomed, because indecision sets up internal conflicts which can, without warning, escalate into all-out mental and emotional wars.
So true.
Psychiatrists have a name to describe these internal wars. It is ambivalence. So, and down here, the person who does not permit it to exist will become very despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity.
Mm-hmm.
So it is obvious that anyone who finds themselves in such a mental state is not living. At best, they are merely existing.
Mm.
A decision or a series of decisions would change everything. And then he goes into a very basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. This is the big one. Indecision causes disintegration. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, so how many people in the world do we know that are indecisive? Ladies and gents,
Used to be me.
it used to be me. Right? Pretty much everybody.
Mhm.
Right? And sometimes our old selves try to come back too, right? Even after studying this, we have these indecision moments. And if you look on the page there, should I love them, leave them? Should I quit? Should I stay? Should I do it? Don't do it? Lou kind of touched on that a little bit, right? So making decisions, it's like Paul said, it's freeing. It calms me. It clarifies things. It's like, should I go left or should I go right? Let's just break it down to the nitty gritty here, right? So, you know what? I want to go right. You made a decision, right? All that discord or ambivalence or indecision, you made a decision. Now you're going the path you want to go. You have clarity, and you're not, anxiety and all that. So, yeah, that paragraph was a monster because it explains what ambivalence is, and a lot of people live majority of their life in that state. And after reading this very in depth, I was able to reprogram myself, override a lot of, it also brought clarity, it made me consciously aware of the power of decision and to be aware of what I'm doing with my life and where I'm headed instead of just being the plaything for outside sources. Right? So,
I think that to learn to make decision is so important today because we have a world that is changing all the time, and you need constantly make decision all the time. And if you are not awake, you will make decisions that are based on your past experience, and you will not go forward. And it will cause a lot of anxiety or stress or depression. So it's so important.
So I want to also thank Donna and some of the people that are watching us that are commenting. When you grow up not being a decision maker. Well, so this is part of what we've been teaching for the past 12 weeks is starting to understand who you are and the gifts and the powers that come with the human experience. But if you don't understand you, and if you don't understand all these gifts and tools, you're disempowering yourself. This is why it's so vital to have someone, a coach or a mentor, walk you through this, because you're coming from your old thinking ways, it's the conditioned mind that's trying to change the conditioned mind. So this is why having a coach or a mentor, with a different perspective to help you get out of that old pattern thinking. But I also wanted to mention wrong decisions. How many of us have says, "Oh, I didn't make such a great decision. I wish I could have done that and do a do-over." And I used to do that, and I realize now every decision that I've made just was a decision. That's all it is. And with every decision was some sort of an outcome. And that outcome, I got to choose whether I liked it or wanted it or not. And from there, I was able to make another decision. So every decision shapes us, shapes our own personal journey. Every decision. So there is no wrong decision or bad decision, because every decision, I think Paul mentioned it, you're learning from it. You're learning. And this is why at the very first call that we had was about goals. What do you want? So I think everyone here in the panel, we can all say we have a goal that is top of mind. And the majority of our decisions are coming from that goal, because we're going towards a direction, and that is also coming towards us. So there really is no wrong decision. And I was thinking about this today, about just being a grandmother now. And I said, well, I made a decision, not that you need to get married, but I made a decision to get married, right? We made a decision to have children. So because I made the decision, example of being married, I experienced being a wife. Had I not made that decision, I would not have known. We made the decision to have children. So because of that experience, I understood a new, different kind of love. Love that I had never experienced before. Right? And now, we have children, they made decisions, right? So now we have a granddaughter. I was never a grandparent before. So because of someone else's decisions based off of my earlier decisions, I now get to experience being a grandmother. So every decision is opening up a new door of experiences. Just like Paul said, when you're walking down the street, you've never been down before, because each decision you're going into the unknown. So if you're walking down a new street, you don't know what stores or restaurants are there. But this is what the adventure of life is. Go into the unknown. That's what makes life exciting, right? So this is what makes, I think we can all say, at least I can say, life is just so delicious. I say this quite often, because I've let go of the judgments, and I'm starting to understand, it's just about, I'm making a bunch of decisions and choices. I'm getting results that I get to experience. This is the human experience. Oh, I get it, right? But it just makes life so much more fun, instead of a drag and life coming at me, and right now it's really beautiful, and it'll be over. It's not as long as we think it may be.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I would like to say to Donna, about also, I like the way Lou says, and I also say, Donna, you talk about how do you learn to trust your decisions, and check your goals, as Lou say, and also check if your goals are based on your values, what is important to you. Because when you are making decisions from your values, it will make your brain handle the stress that is when you make decisions, the stress response from your brain. Otherwise, sometimes the amygdala will go in and, start to, if they are not aligned with your values, you start to focus more in the fear instead of what you really want. So, or what is important to you. So be very clear about your values, and also make sure that you don't do your values to a rule, because sometimes we make our values as a rule, And then you say, oh no, if it's not like this, then I don't do that. Or if it's not like this, So what happens is when we make our values as a rule, it's also we are making decisions that are not good for us. So for example, if you have a value that is creativity, and you are making your decision based on values creativity, and sometimes to be a business owner, not everything is give you the opportunity to use your creativity. And then you say, oh no, I will leave this because I don't get my creativity in here. This sometimes the value sometimes also stop us, so we need to be aware of that. Yeah.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Alicia and Lou said, and go back to Donna's question, how to learn to trust in your decisions. As Jamel brought up earlier, how does a person expect to develop this mental ability? And it's simply, you must just do it. And and then Lou is mentioning, your decisions should be based on your goals. What is it that you want? And so what are you doing today that is, what are you deciding to do today? And does it have anything to do with your goal? Is it helping you? Is it moving you towards your goal? So base your decisions on what your objectives are. And that's how you base your decision. And you just got to try. You just got to do it. And as Lou said, it's just a decision. It works out. It doesn't work out. It just is. Okay, so now you move on. And now you learn from that, and you learn how to do it better, or you learn how to do it differently. You keep your goal. Your goal doesn't change. So yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on that. And then Sandy had an interesting point come up. Every life altering decision I've made in retrospect was a knee-jerk, intuition-based. So, Bob said something really interesting, or it was Napoleon Hill actually, that successful people, when they make a decision, they make them very quickly and rarely, if ever, change their mind. So you've just got to make up your mind. This is what I'm going to do, and get on with it. And when you take something in action, right, you're going to get a reaction. There's the action-reaction. So you're going to get a result, and then you can change based on the result you got. Was it a favorable result? Yes or no? And then you make a decision to change it, or make a decision to keep on going. So, but you just got to, you just got to take action. You got to take that step. So yeah, thank you for those great points, Lou and Alicia.
Yeah, these are amazing points. And I really wanted to share this here in the reading here in this article. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? This is for everyone that watches this and listens to it, right? Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? So how they affect the various aspects of your life. Although this should be one of our most serious considerations, for many people, it is not. There's a very small select few who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. Now here, I would say at least be aware of your thoughts, right? Because with awareness, you're able to, know what you're thinking, and also dictate, your energy as well and your focus. But anyone who has made a study of great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know they rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there was one point on which they were in complete and unanimous agreement, and that was, we become what we think about. Now, this is how it ties in with decision. What do you think about, right? You and I must realize that our thoughts are ultimately control every decision we make. So our thoughts control the decisions we make. This is why it's important to understand your thoughts and be aware of them. You are the sum total of your thoughts. This is magic, right? You are the sum total of all your thoughts. By taking charge this very minute, you can guarantee yourself a good day. Refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. And I'll stop here. The greatest stumbling block you will encounter when making important decisions in your life, and we mentioned this earlier, is circumstance. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered and goals lost because of circumstance than any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would like to do or have this, but I can't because whatever follows because is the circumstance. Circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit them to stop you from making important decisions. Wow. I know that was a lot that I read there, but
I wanted to say about the thought that you say, because we need to be aware, as you say, about or what they say in the article about what we're thinking, but sometimes we are, and also sometimes we are not aware of our needs. The thinking comes from our needs also, or like we are making decisions that is more to satisfy the needs that we have. So we always, even if you are dreaming to save the world, if your basic needs are not met, you most likely will make decisions based on your basic needs. And is to survive, to the safety and the security. The needs of being, you have a good health and economy is the survival mode. The security, the safety is about people loving you, feeling loved, that people love you, that you are in a community that love you. And the third, the security level is the I am good enough, that I know that whatever I am doing, I am good enough. Those three, even if your soul is calling you to save the world, if you don't needs are not met, then you will have a, a war within between the needs and the desire. And the decision will always, the needs will win. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon, so Leo mentioned about our circumstances. And so when you think about circumstances, circumstances is the culmination of past thinking, whether it's our own past thinking or collective consciousness, the environment, collective thoughts create circumstances. So every time we make decisions, we're making decisions. If we're making them from circumstances, we're making them from past thinking, past experiences. We're not moving forward into new territory and discovering new ideas, new ways to do things. I don't know if it was on one of these calls, but I heard this recently. Wishy-washy decisions make wishy-washy results. Was it on here?
no, that's somewhere else, Lou, but that's good.
That's great, right?
I like it.
Also, Sandy touched upon intuition, like making her decisions. So I also heard this, and I really love this, that intuition says yes. Go for it. Yes, let's try it. Yes, let's do this, right? You're going into the unknown, the adventure of life. And fear says no. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side. The boogeyman's over there, this, that, and the other thing. So that's intuition. Well, that's why when we watch something or we listen to a motivational speaker, we get like, yes. Oh, that's so good, right? Because the spirit within us, the essence within us is saying, yes. And then after we leave that seminar or whatnot, this comes back, right? The fear, the old thinking, the pattern thinking. But this is where we get to choose. We get to choose. Do I want to go with that yes feeling, just go for it? Or do I want to stay safe and in the familiar? I'm familiar with this environment. I've learned, I've been in this environment for decades. I know where the landmines are. I don't know. I know the language. I know how to respond. I know how to decide from here. And but that's a choice that you are making. But life, the adventure of life is in the unknown. And that's when we get those intuitive hits, those downloads. Try it, go for it, say yes. But our power, when we can say, no, that's something we get to choose and decide on. We get to choose that. But intuition's telling you, yes, life will be different. Life will be exciting. You're going to open a new door. You're going to meet new people. You're going to see new things. You'll have new ideas and new experiences. Say yes. But then Alicia's people, nope, I don't think so. What if this happens? What if that happens? Let's just stay here.
You know, this is so good. You know, the quote from Napoleon Hill, circumstances, I make them.
I make them.
Right? Are we allowing circumstances to dictate our decisions? Most of us do, you know, unfortunately, but this is a chance for you to shift that wherever you are right now. I think even Bob mentioned that. He said, stop that and choose right now to make that shift towards making the decision from the inside, regardless of what's on the outside. And we've been programmed and conditioned to live from the outside in. This is where decisions, this is what I want to do, regardless of what's happening, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to hold to that. And that's when you start attracting the things towards that decision, right? They talked about Kennedy sending a man to the moon, right? They didn't know how much it'll cost, whatever. He said, I'll do it this year, right? They put that here in the article. You know, and someone said something that was really powerful. Sometimes it's difficult to leave comfort zone. So, and thanks, Leon, for joining as well. I see you. So sometimes it's difficult to leave the comfort zone, particularly as you age. That's conditioning, right? And that's your inner speech. Notice, difficult to leave. That's you speaking, right? And that's your conditioning and how you think. That's your paradigm speaking. See, now you're getting mentorship right here on camera. You have to shift that language and that belief. Decide that it's easy to leave my comfort zone. I leave my comfort zone every day because I know what intuition has for me. It'll guide me. This is faith versus fear versus knowledge of being versus lack of knowledge. Law of polarity. Which one are you choosing every day? That's why these calls are so important, because it allows us to share what we're going through, but also what we learned and adapted to ourselves. Does someone want to share that? Because I can go on and on.
Yeah, I wanted to say to Sandy also about that, about the difficult to, and I say also, like Jamel say, change your language. And why if you start to say, I'm going to expand my comfort zone. So you just start to expand that, to expand, and then it will be bigger, bigger, bigger to do that. Because then you are like learn to teach your brain this is not so difficult, or this is not your age is, I normally say the age is nothing that you are, is something that you have. And if you know who you are, it doesn't matter what you have. We want me to repeat again? Age is nothing we have. We are. Is something we have. If I know who I am, it doesn't matter what I have, because I know who I am.
Yeah, I like that, Alicia. Yeah, basically age is perception.
Yeah, this perception.
Yeah. I love that. That was good. Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments in here too. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thanks for everyone joining in and being, engaged with what we're sharing here. As you can tell, we're hitting our hour mark, and I have a lot of other things underlined and highlighted and circled. We could do a part 2 of decision making, if everybody else, agrees there, but we're always here just to provide some value here and help you. This is just a small part of the power of decision making and how it shapes everything. And from this point on, what decisions are you going to make? Are you going to apply what we're sharing here and write notes of what really spoke to you? Or are you going to go, I don't know, rewatch the Super Bowl or something, right? All these decisions shape your life and your results, and forever will, regardless of whether you know it or you don't. Unconsciously or consciously, you're creating. And Bob said, you either create or disintegrate, right? And indecision is disintegration.
Yeah. I will say, go and make decision, or you win or you learn. That's it.
I like that.
Paul, final words?
Oh, well, yeah, as Jamel said, there's so much, and there's so much to add to that. The whole circumstance thing that we create in our own heads, and I love what Jamel said about to Sandy there about, that's your inner speech talking. It's harder for me as I age to go out of my comfort zone, right? So we have to change that inner talk. But I'm just going to end with this, and it's right at the end of the article. Start today. There's never any time better than the present. Now is the only time there is. And, people wait for the right time, and then they'll make that decision, or I'm deciding for this, but it'll never be the right time. The right time is right now. And you've got to just make that decision to start and take that step forward. And then there's a great quote at the very end by Carlyle that I love: go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you will see how you can go farther. So that's my parting message.
I have one thing for Sandy. It's actually for all of us, right? I always tell my husband, do not let the old man move in, because the environment is supporting that. You're getting older, like all the ads on TV, all the medicines and all of this. So you're constantly being bombarded that you're not good enough, you're flawed, you're getting too old, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not rich enough, blah, 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 right? This is where you say, no, thank you. No, thank you. So Donna, I'm going to tell you, just like I tell my husband, do not let the old woman move in.
I love that. I love that. One thing came to mind. When you're making decisions, you got to have a vision. Paint a picture of where you're headed, or what you want, what you really want, what you want to achieve. And what that does, it allows you, Lou talked about this, you're moving from that decision, but painting the vision helps you decide. Paint the vision of what you want, get very clear on it, and enjoy that process, because if you don't have a vision, you're lost. So, but yeah, this has been amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do a part 2. Because this article is so huge. Yeah, awesome. Well, everybody, feel free, and don't let this just be entertaining or just knowledge, right? Make a decision to reach out to one of us so we can help you with it. It's just, you got the knowledge now, right? Reach out to one of us so we can talk about it with you and see how you can start making decisions towards the vision, towards the goal, rather than just dreaming about it and wishing and hoping for things to change. This is that time to make a clear decision. It really is.
Yeah.
So.
And also, what insight did you get from this today, and go and apply that?
I'll put the exercise in the WhatsApp, and then we can post that to Nikita Young. There you go, Sandy. We can post it on our platforms.
That sounds good. Yeah, and thank you, Lou, for putting those together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of love today. We're sending all the love back.
That's why I wore pink for love.
Oh,
My
yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, I have read in mine. So
There you go.
lots of
See?
love.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, I should have did a theme. I totally forgot. Oh, well.
Everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday.
See you next week.